Hey there folks, I'm Ruby Juice and I'm back with another Farm Sim Network or FSN tutorial, this time focusing on the My Business portion of the website. So if you're on the home page and you look at the Myself tab and you go to My Business, you've got a number of different options here. So here is your logo. Mine's not looking that great, but oh well. And then you've got all these different options here. So we'll start out with fieldwork. So fieldwork is how you can track things that you want to get done on your farm. So for me, right now, I had wanted to plant field number 7 that I own. I actually did that, so I'm going to go ahead and complete it. But basically, you can choose whichever server. So for me, I'm on server 19 as my home server, but any server you work on, you could put this in if you want to. The field number, and then the work type. So say on field number 5 that I own, I was going to plow it. So this way, I've got this in here. I can go in and look and say, okay, I need to plow field number 5. So I could use that information for myself to just keep track of things. I could maybe say, I don't have time for that. I need to create a contract for someone else to do that, whatever it might be. So then you can either complete it or cancel it. If you complete it, it will add it to your statistics, which you can use to just track different information, see how many acres you've plowed or planted or harvested. Basically, this is just a nice little system to be able to know what you need to do, and maybe, like I said, the contracts you might need to create if you don't have time to do it yourself. Next up is field management. So here you see all of the property that you own, whether it's on your home server or another server. So for me, I'm still pretty early on in my FSN career. I only own one parcel, and that's on Bjornholm, server number 19. That parcel has 3 fields. It has fields 5, 6, and 7. Gives you the acreage of each of them and the base cost that it cost me when I bought it. And of course, the base cost is what it costs on the server if there's no auction. So I got it for that price because it was my first parcel. I got to select it, no auction necessary. But if you buy land at an auction, say you pay $800,000, but on the map it's actually only worth $400,000, then the base cost would be $400,000. And then here is where any transfer options would show up. Right now it's telling me this land is yours and currently no transfer options are available without placing it on auction. So if I really wanted to, I suppose I could auction it off, but seeing as I only have one piece of land, definitely not going to do that. And this area is also where you would see any active or upcoming insurance policies that you have, and we'll get to that in just a minute. For crop sales, this is where you can sell any of your crops into the global market economy on the FSN website. So there are a couple different ways you can do that. First off, you select which server. Again, I'm on Bjornholm. Select which crop you're shipping. So for me, right now I actually have some oats in my silo. You can either choose to direct sell it, which is just you get a set price based on whatever the price in your area is, or you can send it to a warehouse, for which you need warehouse licenses and other things, which I'll probably cover in another video later on the whole global market economy. But basically, sending it to your warehouse will give it to your warehouse in whatever country your server is on. So for me, I'm on Bjornholm, so it would send it to a warehouse in Sweden. And from there, if I really wanted to, I could ship it to another country if I have a warehouse there, and then sell it there for a higher price. I don't have any warehouses currently, so I would direct sell. You put in how much you're trying to sell. So for me, I actually have about 98,000 liters in my silo. Which field it's from, if it's from one particular field. Mine's actually from all 3 of my fields, 5, 6, and 7. So I'll just leave that blank. Go to the confirmation page. Here it shows you the price that you're getting. So it would be $498.21 per 1,000 liters. And it tells you the actual full amount that you would get in revenue. And then if I was okay with that, I like that price, go ahead and click finalize and send/sell. And that would create a customs contract automatically. And a customs contract is where a player goes, fills up at the customs silos, and then takes that crop and sells it at a sell point in the server, and then you get this money when they complete that contract. So it's very important, in order to do crop sales this way through the website, you need to have already delivered that crop at the custom silos on your server. And I will be doing another tutorial at some point just on customs contracts and selling to the global market economy. So next up is the crop insurance. And we've got two companies offering crop insurance. I am only able to get a quote from one of them since my credit score isn't 700 yet. It's in the 600s. So I could get a quote from Happy Insurance for crop insurance. Now what this does is it covers a percentage of the estimated lost crop based on the information you provide in the event of a natural disaster or weather occurrence that prevents proper harvesting. So you would have to provide some sort of proof that it rained so much you couldn't get your harvest off, something like that. Like it says, it doesn't cover you to be lazy and not harvest. So if it's nice and dry and you're just saying, no, I don't want to harvest, I don't have time to harvest right now, I don't want to create a contract for someone else to harvest it for me, that's not going to fly. You have to say, or be able to say, that it rained so much, it was never dry enough to harvest, and that's when you could collect on the insurance. So you would just say which server you're on, the field number you want insured, which crop it is, whether you're doing a second crop, so if you're double cropping, and then which loss coverage you want, whether you want 20%, 50%, or 100% of the estimated yield covered by insurance. After that, we've got agreements. So you can enter different agreements on the website if you want a formalized contract, essentially a long-term contract with someone else in the FSN. If you're leasing land from someone, for instance, or you have sort of a long-term agreement for borrowing equipment, something like that, you could enter that in here. So you have land, animal, field, equipment, or other types of agreements. You choose from the drop-down list which farm that agreement is going to be with, and then how long that agreement's going to last. So keeping in mind that since we're on 3-day seasons, it's about 12 days for one in-game year. And then you can also put in any details you want about that agreement in here so that it's crystal clear exactly what that agreement entails in case there's any disputes. Then you would submit it. Once you submit that agreement, it goes to the other person that the agreement is with for approval. If they approve it, then it'll show up down here and have all the details on that agreement. And that will just protect you and the other person in the event, like I said, if there's any disputes or someone says you're not holding up your end of the bargain, this is where the staff team will look to see the agreement, see what's going on, and make some sort of judgment call, again, if there are any issues. The equipment tab is just where you see all of your equipment that you own. So I'm still early on, like I said, don't have too much equipment, but you can see it all listed here. Eventually, it'll probably get audited by somebody, and the actual working hours on each of those pieces of equipment will show up in here. My equipment does have hours on it, they're not all at 0, and they also show which server they're all on. So since my home server is 19, all my equipment is there, but if you wanted to buy equipment on a different server, you could do that. You don't have to only buy land on your home server. So then you'd be able to tell if you purchase equipment on a different server to work land that you've bought there, then you can see what you've got on which server. And the maintenance column is a feature that I believe is coming soon. Task management is just a way for you to also keep track of any tasks you want to do. So you just enter the information here. You can make it repeat daily at midnight if you want, so that you know you've got to do something every day, which server that activity is going to take place on, and then it'll show up down here, and you can mark it as complete or delete it once you are all finished. Don't need to do that task anymore. Again, just another system for you to be able to manage what you're doing when you need to do it. And finally, there's the black book. This is something that I hope you never have to use, but if you do, it is something that's there. So here is where you can decide if you want to keep any contracts that you create as a farm manager or contractor from being visible to someone else on the FSN. So if there's someone that has taken a couple of your contracts, and every time they do really bad work, they put your equipment somewhere weird, and they don't complete the field or something strange, you can put their information in here, whichever player, and then you need to enter some details about the reasons why you're blacklisting that player. So you have to have 2 occasions where that person has done something wrong, put in the contract number that they did something wrong on, some details, and preferably a link to some screenshots of the bad work that they did. Now, if you've got all that, you can go ahead and click Restrict this player. Staff will review it to make sure that it's legit, that you actually do have a good reason for blacklisting that person. And then once that's approved, then that person will no longer be able to see any contracts that you create, so that they can't do any more work for you on your farm. They won't screw anything else up for you. Like I said, hopefully you won't have to use this feature, but it is something that's available to you if somebody does some bad work. And as it says here, they do try to encourage you to go through every so often, take them off the blacklist, see if they've maybe improved their practices, see if they've gotten better. Maybe they're kind of new to the game or new to multiplayer. They didn't quite know what was happening, so always good to give people another chance a little bit later on down the road. Maybe they'll have changed. And if they haven't, you can always come back here and add them in again. So that is the My Business portion of the FSN website. Hopefully you found this helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.